My name is Jenny Barnett, author of the Dreamtime Mysteries. Book 1 is Native Companions. Folio Avenue have invited me to talk about myself and my book, and I think it's my book I should focus on. But I'll just say a little bit about myself. I'm a retired nurse and traditional therapist. During my studies of traditional medicine, of course you learn about the medicines, but you don't learn about the lifestyle. I thought these clever people knew all about that. What about everything else they obviously knew? They knew how to survive without, they lived in the Australian indigenous, lived in the Stone Age. They had no other transport but their feet. They had no plumbing, no power, and yet they survived well. They lived off the land and with the land. They had their own spirituality. They were loving people. They social people. They had their gatherings. Fun people. They were people with depth and character. They had no written history. They were great artists, great musicians, and they loved their children, and they loved their adventures, and they loved to share their adventures. So their lives in many ways could be considered innocent. They weren't sophisticated in any way. And they lived like this undisturbed for thousands of years until we came along and interrupted them, which is rather tragic. And we don't, a lot of people complain about Aboriginal social problems today. They are around. There's a lot of white social problems as well, I might add. And so, of course, a lot of people have a bad concept of these people. I could say a lot more about it, but I think if a person had their country invaded and they were forced to live in a different way and to socialise with different people, to have children by people that they didn't normally socialise with, there's going to be a lot of problems, a lot of changes. These people will probably take a long time to recover. A lot of them are still angry, and they just need encouragement, and we need to give them pride in themselves and their ability to prove. We need to give them the opportunity to prove what they can really do for this planet, because it's ailing. My books encompass all that, but I have had to invent my own fictitious tribe. I can't copy any of their Dreamtime stories because they're sacred to their people, and I respect that. But I've paralleled the way they think, and I've written stories that I've had that they love to read. Many of them have told me they love the stories. I don't know if they please everyone, but you can't please everyone. But there's nothing violent or what would you say, unacceptable about it. But it's all good, and there's a moral to their stories. They had their dramas, they had their good guys and their bad guys and their heroes. So it's just all human, isn't it? Human nature. I've also included artwork, because artwork is the backbone of the stories. Because a young anthropologist called Rex Graham, who is part-Aboriginal, wants to know the history of his lost people. His grandmother was Aboriginal. She's since passed away. She bequeathed a collection of artwork to them painted by her great-grandfather. And so that would have been early pioneer days. And Rex sees the paintings, and he has a longing to know what they mean, because he'd be able to use them in his dissertation towards his thesis, and also because he wants to know them. That's the main purpose. So his grandmother is interred under a sacred meeting tree in her traditional land. Her ashes are, I should say. And Rex goes on a pilgrimage to the tree, and he falls asleep under the tree, and he envisages his grandmother's face in an etching in the tree, because it's an old scar tree that Aboriginals used to use to make canoes. They would carve a canoe out of the bark and leave a scar there. And he sees her face in the scar, And when he falls asleep, he dreams that his grandmother is telling the bush story of the Booran clan. That was her tribe. And so he dreams with the pictures in mind. He dreams the stories. But he believes himself, because he was diagnosed with Asperger's as a child, due to post-traumatic stress disorder, which comes up at the end of the last book. So I don't mention too much about it in the first book. It just looks like it might be fiction fantasy, but it's not. So anyway, Rex wakes up the next morning. He has very vague recollections of the dreams. But when he gets home, he sits in front of the computer and the stories come back to him because they're in his subconscious mind. And so he types out his full dissertation. He gets high distinction. So I've just included 24 pictures, and this is one of them for an example. It's hard without bookmarks to show you, but the back cover is one of them. And it's not an angel, it's an Aboriginal mythical creature. I've included some of their mythical creatures and created my own fictitious stories for them. And so they're suitable for children from, say, year 9 and 10, that's middle high school in Australia, through to adults, anyone really that wants to read something different. I have included a mixed glossary of Aboriginal languages at the back. I've used some of their languages, but I've also explained in the preface what those words mean, and people can go back and reference them if they forget. Just words like bullying, assault, just to make you feel like you're really back there in time and you're really part of that tribe. And it's a great feeling. It's a new adventure for you. Try it. And let's hope that a lot of people can learn something about life from reading this book. Then the second book follows is called Along the Waterways, and it's similar, but the third book is quite different again because it follows on to post-European settlement. So it's a dynasty of Rex's ancestors coming right through to Rex. So thank you for listening to me. I hope I haven't talked too much, and if you do buy the book, I'll be very happy, not just because for me, but for the Aborigine people too. That's my way of saying to them, you're worth it.